Welcome. I am Andrea Hable, President of the League of Women Voters, Woodbury Cottage Grove area. The purpose of the League, national, state, and local, is to empower voters and defend democracy. For more than 100 years, the League of Women Voters has been a trusted source of nonpartisan voter registration and education, and longstanding witness to Minnesota's proud tradition of voter access and election integrity. The League's mission is to encourage informed and active participation of citizens in government, work to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influence public policy through education and advocacy. The League strengthens our communities by promoting voter registration, conducting candidate forums, and informing voters on public policy through education. We invite you to visit our website, lwvmn.org, to learn about the statutes, best practices, and safeguards associated with Minnesota elections on our Elections 411 page. Follow the link to Vote 411 for a one-stop shop for all your election needs personalized to you, including a voter's guide. We hope all of our candidates here tonight have submitted their information to the voter's guide. And now I'll turn it over to Jodi Ritacca, who is moderating today.
Thank you, Andrea. And good evening, everyone, to tonight's candidate forum for the St. Paul Park City Council. I'm Jodi Ritacca, a volunteer with the Woodbury Cottage Grove Area League of Women Voters. I am not a resident of St. Paul Park, and I will not be voting in this election. The League of Women Voters, Minnesota, and our local leagues conduct candidate forums to provide the public with an opportunity to hear candidates and discuss the issues that are important to members of the public. The League is a nonpartisan organization that does not support or oppose any political party or candidate. The views expressed in each forum are those of the candidates, not those of the League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters, Minnesota, and our local leagues post complete, unedited recordings of the forums. Editing is authorized only for the official media reporting. Excerpts and edited clips of candidate forums may not be used for partisan or political purposes. For tonight's candidate forum, only the candidates and the League of Women Voter volunteers are here in person. Tonight's candidate forum is being broadcast and recorded by South Washington County Telecommunications Commission and SWCTC. It can be viewed through Election Day on the TV stations and website and the Woodbury Cottage Grove League of Women Voters website. Voters have submitted questions to the League's email, as well as during voter service events at our community. Viewing audiences can submit questions tonight by calling and texting the number displayed on the screen during the forum. And tonight's candidates for St. Paul Park City Council have agreed to tonight's format. Each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement, and we will rotate the order in which the candidate answers the questions. Each candidate will also have 1 minute to answer and 30 seconds for any rebuttal for the questions. At the finish of the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute for closing statement, and we will reverse the order of the opening statements. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our League of Women Voters volunteers who will be the timekeepers tonight. They are Mary Brudd and Sumitra Ness, and each will hold up signs to indicate 30 seconds and 15 seconds and remaining, and then also a sign to stop when the time has been expired. So now it is my honor to introduce tonight's candidates running for St. Paul Park City Council, and they are Tim Conrad, Tanya Foote, Jeff Haggerty, Charlene Whitbred Hemmingson, Tim Jones, Sharon Ordquist, and Kelly Mullen. And 3 of the candidates running are not here with us, so we will begin now with the opening statements. We'll begin with Tim.
Hello, my name is Tim Conrad, and I've chosen to decide to run for the city council position, one of them anyway, and I've been involved with the community for multiple years. I'm a third-generation resident of the city. Both my parents were raised here. I've been a 45-year member of the American Legion, and for the last year, it expired in June, was my I was the commander of the SALs. I've been the president of the St. Paul Park Newport Lions. And I also brought and run the car show that's here every week on Wednesdays from 3 o'clock or so till dusk at the park. And I've chosen to run to try and help with some of the things that the city has going that I've discovered through my exposure to many people here in town. And I'm also on the Park and Rec Commission and Public Works. So it's just to further that role that I've been offered the opportunity to get more familiar with. Thank you.
Next, Tanya.
I'm Tanya Foote, and I am running for one of the seats on the City Council. I was previously appointed to the City Council a couple of years ago to fulfill a vacancy, and I'm currently Secretary of the Public Safety Commission, having been president of that commission and secretary for several years. I've helped out at the Heritage Days event this year, and I'm a member of Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Inver Grove Heights. I've lived in St. Paul Park for 27 years, and I have a bachelor's degree from Metro State in Ethnic Studies and Women's Studies. I'm running because I would like to better the connection between the citizens of St. Paul Park and the City Council. From conversations that I've had with my neighbors, there is just a little bit of a lack of confidence that I would like to see better, and I'm hoping that I can help promote that. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event.
Next for opening statements, Jeff.
Yeah, hi, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for doing this event for us. Again, my name is Jeff Haggerty. I've been a resident of St. Paul Park my entire life. I've been on the City Council for 2 years. I was elected for the special seat 2 years ago. I'm married, have 6 children. I attended Pullman Elementary and graduated from Park High School. I purchased my home shortly thereafter. I worked all over the city and medical device industry and semiconductor industry. I'm currently employed at Abbott Laboratories as an engineer. But I've always called St. Paul Park my home, even though I've worked all over the city. And also, I just want to say, if anybody would like to ask me any questions, they're welcome to call me on my cell phone at 651-387-9682. Send me a text, start a conversation. So if there's any questions that aren't responded to here, I'd be more than happy to respond to them.
Thank you. And Charlene for opening statements.
Hi, my name is Charlene Whitbred Hemmingson. I lived in St. Paul Park my whole life. My grandparents volunteered here, my parents volunteered here, and now I volunteer here, which is the next step. My next step is to run for City Council. I've been on the Pullman PTA. I've been on St. Paul Park Athletic Association. I've been on the Park and Rec Department now for 12 years, and parks are my passion. I am involved with the St. Paul Park Fire Department. I have been chosen for Firefighter of the Year, an honorary firefighter, in 2017. And in 2023, I was awarded Volunteer of the Year for here in St. Paul Park. I am running because all the years that I've been here and all the city events that we go to, there have been people urging me to let me be their voice. And I'd like to thank them all for their support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now it's time to begin with our questions, and the first question is on priorities. The City Council's chief responsibility is to set strategies for the city. What is one priority that you would like to accomplish during your 4-year term if you are elected? We'll start with Tanya.
I believe, like a lot of people, our economic situation in the city and in the country is very challenging for everybody, whether you're a family with children or a senior citizen. We just can't stretch our paychecks enough to be able to afford a lot of the things that we want to afford. I'm not an economist, so I don't have an exact answer of how to do that, but I believe that would be one priority I'd have, in addition to strengthening the ties between the cities, the citizens of the city, and the City Council. There's just, I believe, a lack of confidence in our government today, and I would like to see that as one of my priorities.
Jeff?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I want to maintain the wonderful community that we already have here. keep our taxes as low as possible, maintain our police department, fire department, our parks, and the citizens are always welcome to come to the city council meetings. They rarely have come down here. So if there's ever any issue that they want to have discussed in the city council, please come down. We're open to have anybody talk to us about anything. Even if it's not on our agenda, we always have a public forum that issues can be addressed. So please come down to the city council meetings. Don't be shy.
Charlene?
Well, I'm not sure I can probably do a lot of the economical things, but I'm willing to learn. I love this town my whole life. I love the small town feel. I'd love to keep our taxes low, and I'd love also to make sure our taxes are spent in the right way.
And Tim?
Yes, I've, as I said, I've been involved with quite a few things here and had people come up to me with different issues. And I'd really like to look at our development along the river. I've heard stories of one form of development, and our water tower out on the highway says St. Paul Park on the Mississippi. That means something to me. I look at it every day out my window, and I'd like to know what does the city think that means? Because I think we need to look at positive, financially prudent development of that can add to our tax base and our existence as a whole. That waterfront probably stands to be the largest difference maker in the economy of this town, and I think it should be looked at not just as a giveaway, but as a very great opportunity to make a difference with the marina and the land that's available. Thank you.
Next question. There are multiple city ordinances that are not currently being enforced. As a council member, how would you address this problem? Jeff?
Yeah, so enforcing the ordinances that we already have in place, we do have a community service officer that does go around and does do the enforcement of many of those. But we do rely on the residents that if they see something that is objectionable to them, to please call City Hall here, make us aware of it so that we can send an officer down there, a community service officer. We're coming down to city council chambers and sharing that issue with us. We'd love to hear it.
Thank you. Charlene?
Well, I think the ordinances, I think they need to be followed a lot more. We do have a brand-new community service officer, and I have talked to him several times. There does need to be some cleaning up in our town, and I'm hoping now with our community service officer and our residents that all get together and keep this town clean and a nice small town. Thank you.
Same question for Tim.
Yes, I'd like to address that through an enhancement and a maintenance of our police department. We've seen a depletion, significant depletion of our resources there for the last 3 years, and now it is starting to turn around. But to maintain that momentum and to keep it going, there's a lot of rundown properties and properties that aren't maintained, and to see that be in action. But we have to be real and have a person that can do that, and resources here within City Hall to see that gets done. I think that would be a great way to make an improvement on our current situation. Thank you.
Tanya?
As has been stated by both Jeff and Tim, enforcing some of these policies is difficult. I think we have a superb police department. I think we have a superb police chief, and I know her personally quite well. They're doing a great job as best they can, but as Jeff said, if you see something, voice it. Bring it to the attention of the city council, bring it to the administrator here, bring it to Chief Danberg. We're here to try to implement some of these policies that I think are very difficult to enforce. But if we don't know that they're not being followed, and if we know that they're being disregarded, that needs to be brought to the attention of the city council.
Another question, what do you see is the greatest need for St. Paul Park, and what plan or project would you propose to meet that need? Let's start with Jeff.
Please restate the question, I'm sorry.
What do you see as the greatest need of St. Paul Park, and what plan or project would you propose to meet that need?
Okay, sure. So the main thing that we need here is to have more businesses, have the, more opportunities for businesses to come here. At our planning commission meeting on Monday, some of the things that we discussed there was making things easier for businesses to come in here. So when Union 76 wanted to expand their gas station and service bays, they had to jump through so many hoops that were created by the Planning Commission and passed by the City Council. So we're trying to reverse some of those and step back away from so many of those restrictions. We want businesses to flourish in St. Paul Park, and we want to encourage more businesses to come to St. Paul Park. And again, if there's anything that businesses want changed, please come down to the Planning Commission first and also visit with the City Council so we're aware of those things.
Charlene?
I think our greatest need here and my position with the Park and Recs are communication between our commissions, our city council, and our mayor and supervisor of the city. I think there's a lot of things that need to be looked at. I want our citizens and our community to get together and make this town a better place to live.
Tanya?
Piggybacking on what both Shar and Jeff said, I believe the business environment here is critical. We've talked about getting more businesses in and what incentives we can use. I don't have a complete answer for that, but taxes and businesses go hand in hand. And if we can get more businesses in, I really believe that that would benefit the city as a whole. And also, as Shar said, there's housing, too, that is a priority, and there needs to be a better communication between and among the city administrators and the council and the commissions and what the citizens want to see accomplished for St. Paul Park.
And Tim?
Yes, I would like to see a kind of a revitalization of downtown Main Street, which I guess follows the business aspect of things. If a person's been a resident here for a long time, I guess one of the things you might say is there's not been much change at all. And if you really look deeper, the change has happened. It's in a downward effect, not necessarily an upward effect. So finding a way that as a city, if we can help assist business owners currently or attract new businesses to take some of those spots. I don't personally know of a lot of new opportunities for business to build here, but maybe that does exist and a person could find that out more as things moved along. But, and then getting the council and the mayor and the administrator and public works to work with those folks cohesively, not just idly through, but actually with some kind of substance to the discussions that are had and the actions that are done. Thank you.
Another question, as a city council member, how would you work with and utilize the views and recommendations of city officials? Charlene?
Well, I think communication with everybody. I think meetings and sitting down and talking about what our citizens want, and answer the questions that they're asking, and try to come up with conclusions and to help them. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, so from city officials, I assume you mean police, fire? Or
City
does,
officials, yes.
yeah, okay, all right, just making sure. So I talked to the fire chief, I talked to the chief of police, I've done ride-alongs with the police department, so I've asked questions of our officers and of the chief to understand what their needs are, their immediate needs, long-term needs, and the chief of police and the police chief come to our council meetings frequently to voice their needs with the city council. So I think the council is in tune with what the police chief, police and fire needs are. Thank you.
And Tanya?
As I previously stated, I'm a member of the Public Safety Commission, and the fire chief and the police chief both attend our meetings. That our commission meetings are open to the public, and we have had from time to time people come and voice concerns that we refer back to the city council, or the police chief investigates it. Again, if there's something that's come up, we need to know about it. We can't know what's bothering people or what is concerning to people if they don't step up and tell us. So our meetings are once every quarter, and they're open to the public. And if you want the date, it's usually the second Thursday of the month. We will have another one tomorrow, or Thursday night, and again in December. So if you have a concern, please voice it.
And Tim?
I agree with the public safety avenue. My concern would be watching, as I said, I've been around here since I was a kid, and my grandfather was a policeman here, and I would do stuff with him, and I used to know the people that ran the offices, the administrators, and there's a lot of time in between, but a lot has changed. And I would like to see what was behind the depletion of our police department. Why did it go from 8 or 9 reserves and 8 or 9 full-time officers down to 2 full-time officers? And the entire public seemed to not know anything about it. Granted, maybe they watch these meetings, maybe they don't, but they didn't know. And as they've become aware of it, they too have asked. And so for running for this opportunity, we need to voice those things. So I'd like to understand it better and see what can be done to reverse what was done initially, and to make sure it doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Next question. St. Paul Park is a small community with a small city budget. How do you propose to continue services to the residents in this time of increasing costs? We'll start with Tanya.
I know that raising taxes is probably not a very popular subject, but I'm not sure how else we can fund our programs and our infrastructure that all need money. So I don't know whether that's possible or not. Getting new businesses into St. Paul Park is another option. As Jeff mentioned earlier, we really do need some new businesses. I don't know how we can accomplish that or what we can do to incentivize businesses to move in here, but I think that might solve some of it. Raising taxes, as I said, is not a popular subject, and I would hate to see my taxes risen, but it might have to work that way to get more money into the financial budget of the city.
Jeff?
Yeah, so the past 2 years being on the city council, myself and other council members have tried to keep taxes comparable to surrounding communities. We look at each variable to make sure we are not out of line with our neighboring communities. Number one priority is keeping taxes down, but still funding the police, the fire department, working with our parks. So yeah, it's a difficult balance, but the city council, I think, has been doing a very good job at it. And again, please come down and talk to us about it. Thank you.
Tim? Same question.
Yes. As I stated earlier, the opportunity for development, I've heard discussions of development along the riverfront where there may be a lot of TIF activity involved with that, tax increment financing, which would minimize taxes back to the community. And in speaking about ways to try and keep taxes down, I personally know people who have in their communities had areas of their communities marketed. And I think there's a huge opportunity for our St. Paul Park on the Mississippi to market that property to more influential, affluent opportunities. I mean, like I said, with the marina down there, that can no longer be developed along any of our riverways, and to have it be there, have it rebuilt, have condos or something put in there of substance. People and businesses, whether they be hospitality or whatever, to contribute to the tax base here, I think could have huge impacts on the offerings of this city. Thank you.
And Charlene?
Well, I'd like to keep our taxes down, but I'd also like to make sure our taxes are spent right. Well, I'd like to keep our parks. St. Paul Park is known for their most beautiful parks. Everybody comes here for them. I would like them, like to see them maintained. I would like to see more businesses come here, and the businesses that are here, I'd like them to stay here. Is there anywhere for us to build anything? Like, Tim said, there's not many places for us to build to get, more tax money in. But, if our taxes go up, I just want to make sure they're spent the correct way. Thank you.
And I have a follow-up question to the last one. What specific steps would you take to balance the budget? We'll start with Charlene then.
Well, a budget isn't really in my wheelhouse right now, but I'm willing to, learn and from everybody and, do research and help where I can.
Tanya?
Having been on the city council and having watched meetings for the majority of this year, I really do trust, as Jeff said, that the city council is managing the tax money, the bills, the things that need to happen around the city. I think they're managing them as efficiently and as competently as they can do. Again, I would hate to see taxes raised, but I do have trust in the city council that they are implementing the monies that they have appropriately.
Jeff?
Yeah, so I kind of already answered that previously. Just saying that, yeah, we're trying to keep things balanced. We're trying to make sure that we're not overtaxing any more than any surrounding communities are. Prices for everything has gone up. That means we do have to increase taxes. The house values have increased significantly. So we do have that. So we tried to minimize that amount that we incremented the taxes up this year. So it's going to be very low for the local taxes. And as far as the Block 89 that Tim was referring to previously, and also the marina area, all of that land there is very difficult to build on. So doing a TIF on that, the tax incremental financing, is a necessary component to that. It does not take away taxes from the citizens. It doesn't take taxes away from the schooling. It's a very complex situation. And if you want to come down, we can talk about it further, because I only have 15 time done.
And Tim?
Yeah, there are things that I think the council and the different facets of the city can do to try and keep their costs in check. Using the police department as an example, if we went from 9 police officers to 2, obviously there was a budget for 9 at one time. How did that monies get reallocated or used in the funds? And if we lost the officers all due to wages, which is different things that I've heard, is are we competitive? Do we need to be more competitive? I think if our citizens knew that part of their tax increase was to maintain an active police force without having the risk of going to county sheriffs or other cities out of the area, I think they would not really balk at that. And I think we need to look at those avenues. Thank you.
Can I take 15 seconds to respond to that? Yeah.
Yes.
So at one of our city council meetings, we did talk to the chief of police. We did reassure the chief that the city council was willing to increase the pay of the officers to attract more officers. We do have now a full force. I can't remember the exact number that we have right now. I believe it's 8. So we are there. Every city is having difficulty hiring officers. It's not just St. Paul Park, and it's not because we're paying low. We're actually paying very competitive.
Along those same lines, the next question, what are your proposals, if any, to decrease crime and promote public safety in our neighborhoods? And what are your goals to ensuring public safety in the community? Tim?
Public safety is kind of something that I do keep a close eye on, and keeping a consistent, regular force when possible, if there are candidates from the area. I think there's always more benefit to have someone from the area than there is to have somebody from not in the area. And I understand the opportunities to attain qualified police officers has diminished over the environment the police have to endure today. The constant concern for them. I know there's people that don't want to get into the field anymore, and we hope to build on that. And the largest, I think, factor is be maintaining the force, the current force, if it is up to full staff, to maintain that and keep it maintained, keep it valued. Thank you.
Charlene?
Well, the public safety, we do have a little problem with that, with our police officers being, you know, at low count. It is getting better. The presence of the police is a lot more these days, these last couple months. But I think that the citizens have a lot to do with the city calling, reporting what you see, and keep calling until it gets taken care of. And there's a lot of things going on in town that I think need to be shared with the city council and our supervisors.
Tanya?
Thinking back on some of the conversations that Chief Danberg brought up at our Public Safety Commission, I'm well aware of some of the challenges that our police officers and the whole department face financially and recruiting. Safety is an issue. It's an issue for me. It's an issue for a lot of people. But I have complete confidence in our chief and in our officers in our department as a whole. I believe they're doing all they can do to recruit and maintain the officers that we have and take care of our city. I'm really feel very blessed to live in this city.
Next question. What is your position on new developments in the city, including the new apartment buildings being proposed? Jeff?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on that, and that is that the apartment buildings and the villas that they want to build down by Saliga's Auto Body, which is Block 89. They have a great plan. There's some things that the city council adjusted with them to make it even better. There was some controversy as far as using TIF or not using TIF, and if we did not use TIF, tax incremental financing, the builders would not have been able to do it, just because there's going to be so much infrastructure that needs to be built into that area before they even start building. And those are going to be managed apartment buildings and managed villas. So we were guaranteed by the builder that they would maintain that oversight on the apartment buildings and the villas. So it'll be good for St. Paul Park.
Tim?
I would want to know more about that. I'm not in a position to say that I thoroughly believe that it's good or bad. I do know where I had attended a couple of the council meetings on that subject, and I would like to see, as I said, I understand it's difficult. I know this whole town is built on bedrock, and it's not easy to work through that, but nonetheless, it can be worked through, and whatever develops there has to work through it. There's no place along the rivers that you can build a marina, and we have a property that a marina could be included. And inclusively from that whole distance, whether it fell in the middle or the end or wherever, what is Block 89, which I don't know that definition either.
Saliga's Auto Body
Yeah.
area, yeah.
But I would like to see those things incorporated. As I said, I think it's a golden opportunity, and I would want to investigate it until I felt that it wasn't a golden opportunity.
Charlene?
I also don't know a lot about that part. I have heard about the apartment buildings. I've heard a lot of bad things about the apartment buildings and a lot of good things about it. The area where it's going to be, I think villas would be much better than the apartments. Again, I don't know much about it, but I will look more into it.
And Tanya?
I don't know specifics about these projects, but I do know that affordable housing is a real priority. We need to have affordable housing for families, for seniors, and I mean really affordable housing, because we'd like to attract more people to move into St. Paul Park. Then our tax base would maybe go up. But if we don't have the affordable housing for people, they aren't going to come. They're going to go somewhere else. So I really believe affordable housing is a high priority for this city.
Next question. What improvements would you make on Broadway and in the downtown area to meet the needs of citizens of all abilities? Charlene?
Well, first of all, I would like to fix the flagpole on Broadway. I would like to try to get some funding or stuff for the businesses down there to maybe help make their businesses look better. A little, a little cleanup. Maybe, I just love this town, so I don't see that we need a lot of improvement here on Broadway, except for the flagpole.
We'll get on that next week.
Jeff?
Yeah, sure. Just like what Char was saying, I love Broadway. We're down there all the time. We go play bingo at the bars down there occasionally. It's a great place. As far as improving it down there, there are some restrictions that are in place that are not from the city. This is a state aspect. And it has to do with, well, I can't remember the proper term, but wheelchair access and all that kind of
yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
So if we do any improvements to the fronts or the curbs or anything like that, it's going to be so expensive that the property owners can't even do it. So that's one of the resistance to why some of those improvements have not been made. But again, any of the businesses that want to try to develop something or improve things, please come down, Planning Commission, City Council. Thank you.
Tim?
Yes, there are some open lots and duplicate ownership, and it'd be nice to entice or make an opportunity to the owners of those lots, whether they be the adjacent businesses or other owners, to help promote some form of development, whether they expand their businesses or sell it off and let another business prosper there rather than just being an empty lot on our Broadway. And I wholeheartedly agree with Char and the flagpole. I run the car show in town every week, and it gets brought up to me every week. So it needs to be a priority. It's the representation of the town. It's the first thing you see when you cross the tracks. And I have my car show at Veterans Park, and veterans and patriotism is very important to me. So those things, I think, in a nutshell, is where I would stand on Broadway. Thank you.
And Tanya?
This is the first I've heard about the flagpole, but it certainly does need to be fixed. It represents not only St. Paul Park, but it represents our country, so it really would be a high priority to fix. I've also heard for years about handicap parking down there, and I really don't know whether that has been alleviated or semi-corrected, but we certainly do need that. We need to have a little bit of sprucing up down there, and I don't know who would be doing that, whether that would fall to the individual business owners or not, but it needs to be just a little bit more attractive than what I think it probably is now.
Along those same lines on business, next question, what are your plans to attract commercial enterprises or bring new small businesses to the city or to help businesses start? Why don't we start with Tanya on that?
I think that might be a matter to refer to our senators and our representatives in the state capitol. I'm not sure how we would actually do that. I know it is a priority to get some businesses down here that maybe don't exist, but I don't know really what we can do to motivate them or to offer them an environment that would be attractive to them to come into St. Paul Park and open a business. I would like to see more of that, but I'm not sure how we can do that.
Tim?
Yes, along those lines, I think, and I've kind of beat on this a little bit, but the development of the properties along the river, if you get enough people in here that kind of demand change, I mean, I think there is some complacency in town or lack of knowledge in the town about what's offered down here. It's amazing how many people drive through the four-way stop over here and don't know what's down the hill. There's actually a pretty large percentage of people. And if they could get that developed and get more opportunities in driving business and profits, that it would make it easier for there to be expansion and updates. And it is substantial when you make all the updates you're probably going to get mandated with all of the other things that go along with that, like ADHD and septic, electric, and all that that's combined in that infrastructure. So I guess that's about it. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, so I joined the Planning Commission even before I considered running for City Council. The reason that I joined the Planning Commission is for exactly that, that I wanted to see more businesses in St. Paul Park, and the first step in changing the rules to how businesses are developed and treated when they're trying to build here in St. Paul Park is through the Planning Commission. We now have a full membership. We have 5 Planning Commission members. I'm the City Council liaison now, because once we got enough members, I got moved off because I'm on the City Council. I'm the City Council liaison. But as a liaison, I still can help and encourage the commission members to review and look at the rules and regulations that are currently in place and taking the opportunity to change those to make it more amenable for businesses to come to St. Paul Park. Thank you.
And Charlene?
I'm really not sure where we can put a lot of new businesses. Like Tim said, we do have some vacant lots, but that are owned by, people in the city. I just think that there's just no room for a lot of new businesses here on Broadway.
Another question, what specific plans do you have to retain existing businesses? Charlene?
Well, I think the businesses we have here, they've been here forever. The people that own things on Broadway, Park Grove Electric, they've been here forever. The people that own all the businesses, the cafe, everybody, they're all from here. And I think we got a good community, and we're all there to support everybody down there.
Jeff?
Yeah, sure. I agree with Shar. We have some great businesses on Broadway. We have some great businesses up here, Union 76, Speedway, of course. But the main thing is just making sure that the business owners feel safe in St. Paul Park, and everybody does, of course, but maintaining the police force, making sure that we don't create any unnecessary rules or regulations that impede the business from existing or expanding is one of my priorities on the City Council and the Planning Commission. Thank you.
Tanya?
I believe that Jeff and Shar have covered quite a few of these components. I think the businesses need to be appreciated and need to be acknowledged. When I was on the council and through various events in the city, we have relied on their support for night out and for backpacks for going back to school for kids. They've always come through for us, and I've appreciated that. I hope they feel appreciated. And as Jeff said, their safety is a significant part of owning a business down here.
And Tim?
Yes, I think knowing that the city has their backs and has a sincere, open path of communication to legitimate conversation, to see results, follow-up, timely follow-up. And I don't know whose position it would be to solicit financial or economical input from the state or the county, but to investigate that to its fullest extent, that would be something that you would have to learn as you went, and see what can be applicable to any of them. And the new development, space is very limited. You're either up here or down there or south of Pullman. It's very limited for business. Thank you.
Another question. The need to improve the parks was one of the issues that citizens were asking about. Do you think our parks need to be improved? If so, what is the most important improvement needed in the park system? Charlene?
Well, I'm commissioned, I'm I'm the chairperson on the Park and Rec Commission, and we do have the best parks. We're coming into we need a lot of maintenance. We are not handicap accessible with all of them, but we're working on that. We don't have a lot of money to fix, to do that, but I don't think our park should be taken out or anything should be taken away because they're not handicap accessible. We need to maintain our parks the most. I know we're probably not going to get a water park, probably not going to get, a big bike park or anything like that. But I just want to maintain what we have and keep our parks the best looking parks around.
Tanya?
I believe maintain is a key concept. They do need improving for a few of the areas, but I think maintaining them. Also, the safety of people using those parks is a high priority. I've seen on Facebook and seen in other social media places that some teenagers are harassing some of the kids that are down there and the families. That's not acceptable. And I don't know how we can monitor that 24/7, but I believe the police are probably doing the best they can do. But again, if you see something, if you experience something, contact somebody, contact the police department, contact the city council, let them know what's happening, because if no one knows, then it can't be remedied.
Tim?
Maintenance, I believe, is probably the most significant thing. And when something needs maintenance, that shouldn't mean removal. Too often, I believe that happens. There's examples of grills that nobody even knew that they were in work and they were removed and not yet replaced. Picnic tables down at the city garage, there's several picnic tables sitting there, and we hear quite frequently of people saying they wish this park had a picnic table and that park had a picnic table. We've got the picnic tables. Let's distribute them for use. Our citizens have asked for them. Those kinds of things. Where there's sprinkler systems, let's use them appropriately. Where there's been improvements, let's protect those improvements when we can. We do have great parks in this town, and they're spread out pretty well throughout town, and we need to maintain and build that when and as we develop. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, and so as being a city council member currently, so whenever the Parks and Rec does come to the city council requesting money for doing improvements or what have you, very rarely does it ever get turned down, or it might get postponed. But generally, we do always fund whatever's requested. Yeah, and so the parks that we have here, like Shar has already said, they are very nice parks. Some of the equipment is old. It's still fairly sturdy, but some of it should be replaced. And I'm relying on the Parks and Rec to let us know what and when those kind of things need to be done. So,
And on the park improvements, so we have a follow-up question. How would you finance it? Jeff?
yeah, sure. Yeah, so through tax dollars. There's no other way. We do have some fundraisers that Shar does do, Bunko Night and other things that Shar and Tim are usually organizing to fund things separately. But otherwise, yeah, it comes from tax dollars. There's no other way of doing it.
Tim, same question. How would you finance it for the parks improvement?
Well, I believe there is fundraising, but there's a park budget, an annual park budget. And I attended a meeting where I heard that the budget was being cut from what was proposed. I don't know what's behind it. I don't know what or why, just that it was cut. And as members of the Park and Rec Commission, myself, Shar, and Cindy Domeyer, we frequently get told that there's not money for that. And the things aren't replaced because there's not money for that. And some simple things we can't do because there's not money for that. So as a member of Park and Rec Commission, the public comes to us and we try and bring those issues to council or to the mayor who happens to be our liaison. And often we don't find resolution or resolve. So to see those kinds of things move forward in an easier path would be fantastic. Thank you.
Charlene?
Well, I agree with everything Tim says. We've been working a lot to keep our parks. We have our own fundraisers. We do use tax dollars. I'm not understanding the budget cut. I don't know what they're gonna cut. We do not come to the city council meetings because our mayor is our liaison, and I don't think we didn't think that we had to come to the city council meetings to tell them all our wants and needs. There are a lot of things that happen in the parks that we don't know about as a commission, and that we'd like to know about, like the removal of some things. We've been asking for some things to be done at the park since 2016, and they still haven't been done. But we're just gonna keep pushing on, and every month we're gonna keep asking, and hopefully they'll get done soon. Thank you.
And Tanya?
I think the parks are valued by the city. They're valued by all of us, and I think they are valued by the citizens of St. Paul Park. Having said that, we have a lot of parks, I think, for actually a small town. So I think we need to keep them up. We need to maintain them. We need to deal with public safety within the geographical parks, because I still think that is a pretty significant component of maintaining them, is maintaining the safety so people will feel comfortable using them.
Next question on community unity and stuff. What would you do to increase community involvement? Tanya?
Can you repeat that, please?
What would you do to increase community involvement for community unity?
Our Public Safety Commission has 3 openings for members. I would encourage people to apply and become part of the city. Jeff said the Planning Commission is full, but I don't think the Public Works Commission is full. I know that the Public Safety Commission is not full. We really would invite people to come to these meetings, apply to be a member, and give us your input and give us your time. It doesn't take that a lot of time per month for these meetings. And I think that would be a vehicle for becoming involved in the city that would be very rewarding for the public.
Tim?
Yes, I believe that the greatest opportunity for community unity is a thing called Heritage Days. And we saw quite a diminished Heritage Days this year. And though I was not able to physically be here, I have been a member of the commission that organizes that for the last 7 or 8 years. And I was a regular attendee early, and it got to be kind of, it's on again, it's off again, it's on again, it's off again. And then the routes changed. A very small contingency of people determined the revised parade route and activities. And I believe with the right people in place, with a new spirit and a new energy, that event could be greatly improved as a family event, not just an event on Broadway, but an event that involved the whole community. And I believe that that's the direction that Heritage Days needs to go, and doing so would be the greatest tool that the city would have to unite the community.
Charlene?
Well, I think what would bring our community and our little town together is a lot more volunteers from the citizens. We have openings on our commission. You don't have to join the commission. You can come and volunteer. You don't have to really join anything. Just volunteer for something, and if everyone does a little bit, this town would be so much more to do. The Park and Rec Commission, we have so much fun. We try to do so many things, but there's 3 of us on the commission. We're 4 short. Like I said, you don't have to join the commission. Just come and help us. We do fun things, movies in the park. It's all about the kids. And people always say we don't have anything for the kids, and then we put on an event and 3 people show up. So we'd really like to see the community come out to all our events. And our next event is Trunk or Treat on the Friday before Halloween, so I'm hoping to see everyone there.
And Jeff?
Yeah, sure. So community involvement, all of us are going to say the same thing, and that's to volunteer and become a member of the Parks and Rec Commission. Because, yeah, it's great to volunteer, but we definitely need commission members on the Parks and Rec coming down and just helping voice your opinion. And then Heritage Days, yeah, there was a lot of comments, negative comments about Heritage Days. My wife and I and our kids went down to Heritage Days. We still had fun, but it wasn't like it was 20 years ago, of course, or even 10 years ago. But it was still a good time. So yeah, so come down and volunteer for Heritage Days. And if you don't like the way it's run, take charge. Voice your opinion. Say that, you know, you're willing to manage Heritage Days. Not a problem. I think people would step back and let you take charge. So, yeah, thank you.
I'd just like to respond a little bit to what Shar said. You don't need to join these commissions. It would be nice if you felt like you wanted to, we'd welcome you. But you can just volunteer for an event or part of an event. You don't have to be a regular part of any of the commissions or any of the planning events. But as Tim said, Heritage Days is really an important part of the city life, and we are going to have meetings again. So step up and come down and join us.
And we have a question from someone viewing, said, how would you re-energize Heritage Days to bring it back to the more vibrant celebration? Let's start with Tim on that.
Yes, in my time on the Heritage Days Committee, I've proposed, like Cottage Grove, that used to be more of a sporting bar event, and they moved it up to a park, a large park. It works out fantastic. If anybody hasn't had a chance to attend it, I would attend it. But look, observing that, and we are a different community than Cottage Grove, but we have parks capable of doing that, namely Heritage. And I think that we could have our beer garden, if we wanted to have a beer garden, if we could finding a carnival. People always say there's no carnival. A carnival is a very difficult thing to find. They're disappearing more than they're appearing. So that's a huge challenge. Nonetheless, we need to have meetings this year, not next year, about next year's Heritage Days, and that happens too often. So to get it and move it up there, make it a family event, you can still have the fun, you can have the music up there, the opportunities to enjoy a few beverages, the kids can do all of their things, and it's a great park to be used. And that park has had many updates, and it would be a great place to start a new adventure for Heritage Days.
Tanya?
I was on the Heritage Committee until I had some personal situations develop in my life, and I had to drop out. But it's an important event, and I think what we have all said throughout this last hour, volunteer, step up. If you want to be part of Heritage Days, we certainly would welcome you to our meetings. Hopefully they will kick off the first part of the year. But we meet at Greg's Tax Service downtown, and the meetings are well advertised. So if you're interested, be part of it. It would really, I think, help re-energize if we had more people involved in it.
Charlene?
Well, I love Heritage Days. I loved it when it was the buoy on Broadway at the fire hall. It's one of the best times of the year. It has slacked a couple years, but we need volunteers. If you have an idea, I mean, how many messages did we have on Facebook? All you 222 people that have your ideas, bring your ideas. You be in charge of whatever you want to be in charge of, the craft fair or a bouncy house or the business meeting or whatever. Just come and be a part of something. Bring your ideas. It's not going to get better if we don't have more volunteers.
Exactly. And Jeff?
Yeah, sure. It's all the same message. Volunteers, volunteers, volunteers. There is a Facebook page for the Heritage Days that does have the schedule for when the meetings are. I believe they've already had a meeting for next year's. I'm not sure. But yeah, so there's plenty of opportunity to volunteer, and if there's something that you want to organize, some sort of event during Heritage Days. There's a lot of businesses that are willing to donate time and money for that as well. Tennis Sanitation has always been a major contributor to the Heritage Days, and several other businesses, American Legion, the Park Place. So yeah, so there's opportunities, the money is there. It's not a city-funded, this is a city-funded event, so we can't do anything from the city council aspect. So we have to rely on the businesses and volunteers to make Heritage Days happen, so please volunteer.
Can I say something?
Yep.
That a lot of people don't know that Heritage Days is not funded in any way by the city, not with any of your tax dollars or anything. We are having a meeting at the end of September, and hopefully in October, we will have another meeting. Check the city website, check my Facebook page, Tim's Facebook page. We'll put it out there. The only place that they have the meeting schedule is on the city website. So, but seriously, volunteer.
Getting toward the end of our questions here. We have a question on how would you promote positive activities for St. Paul Park's youth? Tim.
We had an opportunity this weekend to promote Little League Baseball, which is making a resurgence in the city. And there was a dire need for a pitching mound that had previously been removed. As I said, I'm on the Lions, and there was a request for monies, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, because they had been told that there was no opportunity for help or assistance with that currently from the city. And they actually had a tournament scheduled, so they needed to get it done. It kind of came to a head last Friday, and Shar fielded phone calls and myself, and there was a thread of comments online about the urgent need for it. Bottom line is it did eventually get resolved, but those kinds of things need to be the very, very infrequent situation, and there needs to be a more voluntary, cooperative hand held out by the city to try and meet some of these needs. The folks doing that, they're trying to get this started back. I'm sorry. And we just need to move forward and assist with that.
Tanya?
My kids are grown, and I did not raise them here in St. Paul Park, so I'm a little on the fringe of kids' activities. They're important. I don't minimize that at all. But I think what Tim said is something probably that I would go back to. I don't know a lot about the kids' activities in the city because, again, I've been away from that, and my children were did not live here when I moved here. I don't know really how to resolve some of those issues, but I do know that they are important and they really need to be worked on, and somehow there has to be a connection between the city and the children's events for all of the families that live here.
Jeff?
Yeah, so that is a difficult one because the way the kids play nowadays is way different than when we were growing up. For me, I had roller skating all the time, went 3 or 4 times a week to the roller rink, so I always had something to do. But nowadays, there's hardly any roller rinks. I think there's 2 or 3 in the city, throughout the Twin Cities area. But there aren't very many things that are available to do. There's, I forget the places up in like Oakdale where they're family fun type things that you can go do. There's nothing here in St. Paul Park, of course. But again, businesses have tried something like that several years ago, and they did not last because there wasn't enough participation by the citizens to go to those type of fun park places that you had to pay to go do something. So it's a difficult one to answer.
And Charlene?
Well, I'm on Park Rec Commission, as you know, and we don't get much support from the city. We do our own fundraising. The businesses in town do try to help us as much as they can. about the baseball field. I've been on this athletic association. We have never, ever once paid the city of St. Paul Park to fix the fields. And so that's what now we're turning to. I'm just afraid that now the teams are gonna all leave St. Paul Park. And I would hate to see that, especially when the teams are coming back. But we do have lots of things for kids to do in our Park and Rec Commission. We have movies in the park. We have the garden party. We have trunk or treat. Trunk or treat was huge. I hope you guys can come this year. But we have many things for the kids to do, and not many citizens show up. Not many kids show up. So we would like to see more of that so we can have more. Sorry.
Could I add just one little thing on that? It's a consistent theme that not many citizens show up, and what we have found is the website that gets updated here at the city, we don't have access to update it, I don't believe, but we often go and check it when people say we didn't know, and we find that there's nothing on our websites that should be updated. So those are the kinds of things that I talked about and Shar has talked about, that we need to get the city to work with us, not even to work against us, but just not to help us. We need their help. We need their help.
Getting again toward the end of questions here, what are your thoughts on reducing the contributing factors to changing climate and proposals to address the effects of it on St. Paul Park? Safe air, water, soil. We're just kind of open it up.
I'll go.
Thoughts, okay.
I think the greatest impact on our carbon footprint is the place that makes gasoline. And as a city, we need to be a part of the conversations when they update filtering and smoke emissions and all of those things, so that we can be comfortable that they're doing everything possible to minimize the effects of producing fossil fuel products in this refinery. Our sewer systems, and our water systems, we've installed a new water treatment plant, and now they're expanding that to another water tower. Those are all great things. It was cost 3M. Just checking those things. Getting our trees, when trees die, get them out of here. When they're gone, get them replaced. Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a member of the Refinery Citizen Action Committee. So I go to the refinery every couple of months and review their emissions, review their standards. And their standards are second to none. I mean, they are one of the cleanest refineries that we have here. We've had almost no incidents with the refinery there. So, and I feel perfectly safe around the refinery. And, if you don't want the emissions, then stop driving your car, So there isn't any other thing that we can do, because the refinery needs to be there. There's the demand for it. The cost of gasoline has risen significantly. There's no way around it. So it's not something that St. Paul Park has control over either.
And Tim, you want to add something?
Just a quick addition. Just to be clear, I wasn't against the refinery in my saying that to be a part of their discussions, just so that when people came to the city, we could respond confidently and say, just as you said, you feel totally comfortable that they're doing everything possible and within their reach that they can have an effect on.
Right, yeah, and you can contact me, and I can get you in contact with the refinery, so you can also be part of the community action part, and I'll send that information to you, Tim, so that then all of us can go down there. So they're always welcoming to other citizens to come down.
Charlene, thoughts?
Well, Cindy Dolmeyer, she's on our commission, and she's going to join that down at the refinery, so we could be updated and stuff like that. Like Tim said, we got all new water. We got new water tower all cleaned up. I think people should still do the water testing. We do have free water testing here in South Washington County. I think everyone should test their water and keep testing it. I know they've had some problem in the city with the water turning a bad color. I've had the horrible smell. But we've had kept on having our water tested, and it is still good. So I'm confident about that. I'm confident about the refinery. And that's it. Thank you.
Tanya, any thoughts?
Clean air and clean water are concerns for everybody, and I'm learning a lot just listening to the three of you talk about the refinery and some of the issues that have been resolved or are being resolved with Jeff going down there and being part of it. It's an important issue. It's a wonderful question for us to consider. I don't have any further comments other than what's been voiced, but it is for everybody. Clean air and clean water, those are priorities.
Final question before your closing up statements. What do you think is the best thing about St. Paul Park? What do you think is the best thing about St. Paul Park? Tim?
One is its small town feel, and for me, it's been a lifetime of a small town. We haven't seen huge expansion, and there's a lot of character that goes along with a small town feel that can get lost when a small town becomes a big town. Maintaining that feel is a challenge as we grow and move into the next decade or whatever, as time goes on, things change. But if it's done with public involvement and government, local government involvement jointly, and we can minimize surprises and keep the masses down to a small roar when things change. So I look forward to facing those kinds of opportunities. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, sure. My favorite part about St. Paul Park is the citizens. That's why I've stayed here, grew up here, and never left. And a lot of people, just like Shar, Tim, several people that have grown up here, we don't leave. And the reason we don't leave is because the citizens that are here, our demographics are changing and changing for the better. So there's a lot of new neighbors that we're seeing around. And some of the old neighbors, which is always good. But the citizens, that's what keeps a lot of the people here. And 99% of the citizens that are here are wonderful. That 1% that you hear about here and there on Facebook, what are you going to do? But everybody here is wonderful.
Charlene?
I love this town. Like I said, I grew up on Broadway. My grandparents grew up on Broadway. My parents grew up on Broadway. And everyone's like family. If everyone's welcome to dinner, we're all, not tonight, Tim, but I love the small town. I love the small town feel. I hope it can stay like that. Again, we need citizen involvement in everything. And, come to the meetings, like Jeff said, come to any meetings, come to the Heritage Days Committee meeting.
And Tanya?
Aside from the small town feeling, the safety that I feel living alone is very important to me. My husband died last November. Sometimes I even forget to lock my doors. I grew up in a small town in Missouri, and we did not lock our doors. Now I lock my doors, but that's about the only change from when I grew up to being here. Just like tonight, we all know each other. So it is a small town feeling. It's a good feeling, and I feel really, really safe living in St. Paul Park, and I hope to live out the rest of my years here.
Now it's time for the 1-minute closing statements, and we will reverse the order of the opening statements. So we begin with Charlene.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight and you guys arranging this. I want to thank everyone that has been supporting me and giving me the idea to run for council. I don't know a lot about some of the things, but I'm willing to find out. And if anybody has any questions, you can always come to me and I will find out your answer like I have been in the past. And I won't stop until I have the answer, and I will keep asking. So if I can do anything, please reach out. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, sure. We've already talked enough. But again, thank you very much for organizing this forum for us. It was great. I got to know everyone else here. Yeah, so it's been very good. And again, if you want to talk to me personally about anything, whether it be something campaign related or city council related, you're always more than welcome to contact myself or any of the other city council members. Our telephone numbers are on the website. But again, for people that want to call me directly, it's 651-387-9682. Send me a text, voicemail. Hopefully I'll answer for you, but busy throughout the day. But give me a call between 5 and 9 p.m. is usually the best time to get a hold of me. Thank you.
Tanya?
Thanks again to the League of Women Voters and the South Washington County Telecommunications for sponsoring this. I've learned a lot tonight. I think we've all gotten to know each other even a little bit better throughout this last hour. Again, I would encourage anyone who is interested in coming to our public safety meetings. We only meet 4 times a year, but if there's something that is concerning to you, you can leave a message here at City Hall for me, and we will address it and try to maybe not solve it, but minimize it or get back to you with some answers. Thanks again for this opportunity to have us get to know each other a little bit better, and for you, the viewers, to know something about us.
And Tim?
Thanks again to the League of Women Voters for organizing this and inviting us to be a part of it. And it was a pleasure to sit at this table with everybody here. I had no idea what to expect. This is my first adventure into this pool. So you've heard us speak. If you have any questions, as the rest have said, I think my email is out there. I will give you my phone number is 651-455-1673. If anybody has any questions and they'd like to ask of me, that'd be great. And I just welcome the opportunity to be a larger part of this community, having been the pretty active person involved with this and other things in the community for the last several years. Thank you again.
Well, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, I want to thank you candidates for being here.
Thank you.
With us tonight. So thank you so much. I want to thank our timekeepers and to all the League of Women Voters volunteers here tonight. And thank you to South Washington County Telecommunications Commission for broadcasting and recording tonight's forum on Comcast Channel 16 and streaming it on SWCTC and archiving it for future viewing. The broadcast can be viewed through Election Day on SWCTC website and on the Woodbury Cottage Grove Area League of Women Voters website. So thank you. Back to Andrea.
That concludes our forum for the candidates running for the St. Paul Park City Council. Thank you to the candidates for choosing to run for office and their participation in the forum tonight. And thank you to all those who viewed the forum live tonight or who view the recording between now and the election. This is the first of 2 candidate forums the League of Women Voters Woodbury Cottage Grove area is hosting this September. This is one of the most important services to our community. Last year we had over 2,500 views of our forums. The next forum is the South Washington County School Board, that is District 833, and that's on Tuesday, September 19th at 7 o'clock. And like this forum will be available to view live as well as on the SWCTC website afterwards. Please make every effort to be informed about our candidates running for all the offices on this year's ballot. And most importantly, get out and vote.